What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York, Invade Columbus Ohio for Sonic Temple Fest. And today we are here with Demob Happy. Thank you all for being here.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Thank you for having us.
So great to have you guys here. Holy Doom is your latest record, which
That's
came
right.
out in 2018. I know you released another single after that.
Yeah.
It's just how's everything been for the last year?
Been great.
Yeah, everything's been received amazingly. We've took our first foray into the States.
Our first tender footsteps into the it's been good.
It's gone very well, yeah.
Yeah, done a lot of touring here in the last 9 months. A lot of touring, yeah.
And you said it was your first time in the States.
Yeah, first time. It came in hard, we did.
Yeah.
But it's been I
think we've done about
it's our third tour here now.
third tour here now in
9 months.
9 months. I think we've done about 60 dates here so far.
Yeah. So
Sick of us yet?
Not just yet.
Only getting started.
I'm on the edge. Nah, all good. Yeah, I love it here.
It's great.
You know, it's funny because I've interviewed a lot of bands when they're doing their first North American tour, and they say it's like a legit pinnacle moment in their career. Has touring in the States, do you think that could maybe influence you as an artist in terms of how you write your music in the future, or?
Potentially, I reckon what it kind of shows us, and it's been quite illuminating for us, is that I think in the UK, audiences tend to be slightly, I guess, more fickle, or not fickle, but they have a slightly wider range of they're less like kind of genre specific. Let's put it that way.
I feel like fans in the UK, generally speaking, are less like dedicated to one avenue of music, whereas in the US, if you're a rock fan, you're a rock fan and you're like really passionate about
that's
that
the
type
thing.
of music.
We've done this is our 4th festival on this run, and they've all been kind of rock festivals, and there aren't any rock festivals left in the UK. The ones that have diversified and that,
Download, right?
Yeah,
they've become a bit more mainstream, a bit more pop, a bit more like hip hop.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense if you're catering for everyone's tastes, but I feel like in the US the audiences
we can actually
dedicated to
have just a rock festival, which is great for us, because then it's these are our people,
Well, I feel like Sonic Temple had quite the variety. I mean, to have bands as heavy as Lamb of God or Meshuggah or Black Dahlia Murder, but then also, have Foo Fighters headlining or Papa Roach or Disturbed. I think they really hit the nail on the head as well.
Definitely, yeah. No, the lineups have been great. You just don't see that in the UK, and I think that's kind of made us feel like, there's however many hundreds of millions of people here. Even a percentage of them love just rock. That's a big load of people.
Probably bigger than the population of the UK. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes us feel like, all right, we don't have. No, it's not so much we have to change what we're doing, it's that we just have to reach all of these people, which is why we're here.
Yeah, of course. Now, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Holy Doom is your second full-length record, right?
Yeah.
So do you try to maintain a certain sound when making new music, or do you like to experiment and kind of go outside the box?
I guess a bit of both, really. It just depends. I guess up until now, we've kind of been finding out what we want in terms of sound, but at the same time I think there's still an element of we want to experiment in different ways.
Yeah.
So I think our kind of core sound, we've found out what we wanted more. But I mean, depending on the song and depending where we go, that could always change as well. It's just we kind of draw from what we like in terms of sound anyway.
That's the thing. We've always been very DIY, and we've always done a lot of things ourselves, and we've co-produced everything we've ever put out with people that we've chosen to work with, and for the most part it was just mates of ours. And I think that we've it's more been a case of filtering it down into what we had. This thing in our heads originally, we always kind of had this idea, and it's just been figuring out how to get it. And if it wasn't on our own terms, we wouldn't really do it anyway, because we're like that, we like to be in charge. So it's just kind of taken us, every time we do anything new, it feels like we're getting a little bit closer maybe to this thing that we're trying to achieve, that we can hear,
Now, being a DIY band, I mean, has maybe external output from outside of your band or inspiration maybe ever influenced your sound? Are you open to
of course, yeah. Definitely. It would be crazy to try and claim that we're the originators of, and some people do that and they're insane, but
or they're full of shit.
Yeah, full of shit. Yeah, no. Oh no, I mean we definitely, I don't think we ever particularly try and we wear our influences on our sleeves, you know, and I think that like, but it's about combining things in fresh ways, right? Nobody's ever originated anything, you know.
Yeah, I mean the songs themselves, like if you strip them back from all of the kind of specific tones and sounds that we have, are still their own songs in their own right.
Yeah.
So I think the things that you draw from influentially are kind of are more stylistic choices than the songs outright.
That's it. We found a lot that, like, depending on how a song is framed and how we produce it, it can have very different reactions from people, you know. So that's definitely a thing that we've tried hard to hone in on. So and that's our thing. I think that what you hear now is us getting closer and closer to this thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I think people are more now.
The new sound.
The hot, fresh sound. I think people are more like, oh, that's the Demob sound now, you know. And I think if we do another record like we're doing, I think people will be unmistakably like, that's their sound, you know. Which is really nice.
Yeah. Because, you know, sometimes when people say, oh, we're doing a follow-up record, people think you're just rehashing everything you did from the previous record. I feel like you have the way of maintaining your sound, but also still keeping it fresh.
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly. Maintaining a core identity, but also trying to branch out and evolve as well. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Whilst keeping it your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much a band could do. I mean, like, okay, a band like Cannibal Corpse probably won't do a Whitney Houston cover anytime.
Right,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
And that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
Corpse Grinder.
Yeah.
I challenge you to do that. But, like, you know, there's still, like, even if you're a heavier band, you could go outside your comfort zone a little bit. I feel like there's always room to experiment no matter what style you're kind of pigeonholed into.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just think you should never get comfortable. I think that's the thing. Like David Bowie said once in this really influential interview, at least to us, just said like, oh, you always have to be a little bit uncomfortable in what you're doing.
Definitely.
Always
it
make
keeps,
yourself
it keeps it fresh
uncomfortable.
for you as well, like
Yeah.
for us as an artist, because if you're just making the same thing, if we did that, I guess we'd just become bored of it.
Exactly.
And you just make uninspiring records. So like, if you're always keeping it fresh, always like changing it up a little,
Plus, I think
it just makes sense.
People are always going to have their favorites as well because you can't like appease everyone. And I think a part of a band or an artist's journey is to like kind of explore that side of things. And yeah, people are going to like the first album more. People are going to like the second or the fourth or the eighth or whatever. But like that's the point, isn't it? You know. Yeah. Then
And you're also, when you put out a new record, you're a very different person, and you learn so much from them when you did your previous one. So that's obviously going to influence the writing process one way or another.
Exactly. Yeah, we've learned so much about ourselves and about the world and about music in the last 4 years. So naturally, the new stuff's going to be different, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
So before we go, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
You know, this is actually my first festival that I'm ever working press at.
Right.
And, you know, for me, working press at a festival like this is very different from just doing one at a regular concert. For a band on the festival, how different is it playing a festival like this as opposed to, you know, just doing a regular tour or something like that?
I mean, the catering's better. Put it that
The
way.
what?
The catering.
Oh, the food out
food
here
is a lot better.
You don't usually get catering at gigs unless you're like at like a much higher level. We support Jack White in the UK, and I think that was one of the first tours that we did where we just had delicious catering.
Yeah, and it was like we were
had
going
like
on
10
stage.
corn dogs today.
Yeah. Did you? I mean, that's it. Yeah, like eating salmon for dinner before going on stage at your own pace is amazing. Normally, when we've grown up doing shows in the UK, it was like a packet of crisps and like one can of warm beer, you know.
If you're on tour in
Carlsbergs.
Yeah.
If you're on tour in the U.S., if you could come across a McDonald's or a Wendy's, you were king.
Right, that's it. And that you just can't eat that shit all the time. Like you need to diversify and eat healthily, you know. It can be hard, but
I mean, other than catering,
other than the food.
Other than the food, we've just been doing a run of headline dates on this tour, and it's quite refreshing just to have like like festival dates like interspersed between them.
Everything runs a little more smoothly, you know.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So before we go, I'd like to thank you guys so much for your time today.
No worries,
Is there
thank you.
just anything else with Demob Happy that you would like to promote? You said you're working on new music now. You have a
Yeah.
new single out. Any tours that?
Well, we've literally yesterday just announced a new tour in September, so we're going to be coming back to the US, supporting a really great British rock band called Band of Skulls.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we're doing a whole month-long tour all over the US with them. There's like 25 dates or something. Yeah, and so we're main support, so we're going to be doing the whole thing, and that's great. So we'll be back. We're back in September.
Awesome. Well, Well, thank you guys so much.
No worries. Thanks very much.
I hope that tour's coming to the New York.
Oh, it is.
It is.
And more.
Awesome. Everybody, we are here with Demob Happy. Holy Doom. It is out now. Pick it up if you haven't already. Catch them on tour in the U.S. this fall. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.